Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Cannonball 2025 Festival application. I'm going to read through and walk you through in the video how to fill out the 2025 Festival application. Cannonball 2025 Festival application. 2025 application introduction. Ahoy! Welcome to the 2025 Cannonball Festival application. We're excited to see what treasures you have in store for us. Cannonball has always been a home for marginalized voices and an incubator for experimental live performance. We want your drag performance, your weird stuff, your wild, loose experimental happenings. In the months and years ahead, Cannonball remains committed to platforming artists who show us all how to live courageously. You can find out more about this year's festival here. Link. Sections 1 through 5 of this application are required for all artists applying to Cannonball. If you are also interested in applying to one of our special presentation tracks, you'll be prompted to answer additional questions in Section 6. All applications will be asked to submit at least one work sample. You will be prompted to do so at the end of the application. The application deadline for all applicants is 11:59 p.m. on Friday, April 11th. We will begin notifying artists about the status of their application in mid-April, and all artists will be notified of their status by mid-May at the latest. Click here to view the application questions as a PDF, linked. If you have any questions about the application process, please email producers@cannonballfestival.org. All shows in Cannonball are part of the Philadelphia Fringe Festival. You can find more information here, linked. For questions about participation in the Philadelphia Fringe Festival, please reach out to Simon Rabinowitz, simon@fringearts.com. My email is listed. An email will be listed. Switch account, linked. The name, email, and photo associated with your Google account will be recorded when you upload files and submit this form. An asterisk or a red star indicates required question. Email. This is a spot where you can check a box. It says record my email, could be your email, as the email to be included with my response. Artist information. Lead artist first name, required question. Lead artist last name, required question. Lead artist pronouns, optional, i.e. they, them, he, him, she, her, etc. Lead artist email address, required. Lead artist phone number, required. Artist residency. Which of these statements best describes you? Required. Options being, I'm a U.S. artist living in the U.S., I'm a U.S. artist living outside the U.S., I'm a non-U.S. artist living in the U.S., I'm a non-U.S. artist living outside the U.S. Lead artist address, country. Please select the country in which you reside. Required. This is a full list of many countries. I am going back to make sure that we are acknowledging the required questions so we can move on in the form. We just did lead artist address country. I'm going back to lead artist address city, the next question. Lead artist address city, required. Please type the name of the city in which you reside. Lead artist address state. If you reside in the US, Canada, or Mexico, please select your state/province. Your options are a full list of US states. Lead artist address zip code, required. Please type the postal code where you reside. Student performer. Will you be enrolled in an academic program during September 2025? Required. Your options are not a student, graduate or higher, undergrad, high school, or other. You will choose one. All of the choices up until now are single choice options. First time producer. Is this your first time producing a show as the lead artist? If yes, congrats. Required. Your options are yes or no. Please choose one. Previous Cannonball years. How many times have you previously been a lead artist in Cannonball or Miniball? If you've never been a lead artist at Cannonball or Miniball, please select 0. You will select 1. Your options are 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Previous Fringe years. How many times have you previously participated in the Philadelphia Fringe Festival? If you've never been a lead artist in the Philadelphia Fringe Festival, please select 0. Required. Your options are 0, upwards of 29. Please select 1. Access to opportunity. What levels of access do you feel you have to money, people, places, resources, etc. to present your work? Required. Your options are few. I have little or no regular access to opportunities to present my work. Some. I have some regular access to opportunities to present my work. Advanced. I'm well connected and my work is frequently presented. You have 3 options, which are just the first word of those options: few, some, or advanced. Please select 1. Company name, optional. Additional admin contact first name, optional. Additional admin contact last name, optional. Additional admin contact pronouns, optional, i.e., they, them, he, him, she, her, etc. Additional admin contact email address, optional. Additional admin contact phone number, optional. Additional collaborator names, optional. Please list any additional collaborators with names and pronouns. It's okay if you don't know yet, and it's okay if it changes. This helps give us a picture of the folks involved in your project. This is the end of page 1. You may look at your answers before clicking Next, or you may clear the form. I'm clicking Next. We are now on page 2. Cannonball 2025 Festival application with your email address and indication of required questions. Project information section. Project title, required. What can we call the project when talking about it? It's totally okay if this title changes. Solo show, required. If the show intended to be performed by only one person, that one person may or may not be you, the lead artist. Choose yes, no, or I don't know yet. Project description, required. Please enter a description of the project. This could be what the piece is about, the artistic medium, dance, theater, immersive, etc., questions you are exploring with this work, or anything else you feel describes the project physically and conceptually. Last year, answers to this question averaged just over 100 words, but write as much as you would like. Project purpose, required. Why are you making this work? What is interesting or exciting to you about this work? What do you hope to learn from making this work, and what are you hoping to share with an audience? Last year, answers to this question averaged just over 140 words, but write as much or as little as you like. Development stage, required. What is the current stage of development for your proposed project? Early. I've created very little or no material. At this time, I'm focused almost exclusively on creating the work. Middle. I've created some material and I have a clear path ahead. I'm balancing creating the work and producing the work. Late. The script or dance or act, etc., is finished or very close to finished, and now I'm mostly focused on producing the work. Choose one option, early, middle, or late. I'm going back to make sure the other required sections are filled so that when we get back to the bottom, we are ready to move on to the next page. We just read through the development stage section. We are now going into the development process. Development process. Has this work been performed before? Is there anything else you would like to share with us about where this project is in its development? Last year, answers to this question averaged just under 50 words, but write as much or as little as you like. Performance vibe, required. What is the vibe of your proposed performance? You will have 4 options: quiet, simple, restrained, moderate, complex, oscillating, exuberant, loud, active, in your face, other, with place to write an explanation. Please select one. Primary genre, required. Pick the genre that most closely aligns with your project. Don't worry about it being an exact match. Your options are art for young audiences, cabaret and nightlife, circus, comedy and improv, dance, film, immersive and interactive experience, music, spoken word and storytelling, theater, visual arts, workshops and classes, other. Please select one. Technical requirements narrative. Does this performance have any special technical requirements? It's okay if you don't know yet, and it's okay if this changes. If you think your requirements might change, please understand that while we do our best to work with artist needs, we are unable to accommodate all requests. If you are accepted into Cannonball, we'll ask more questions about this later. It's especially important for us to know about large set pieces, massive or massive amounts of props, and anything that might need to be installed. Messes, including dirt, glitter, liquids, etc. Rigging needs and vertical space requirements. Special lighting needs, including full blackout, specials, spotlights, etc. Projection needs. How flexible all of the above is. Last year, answers to this question averaged at about 25 words, but write as much or as little as you like. If you have no special needs outside of basic sound and lighting at this time, please enter none. Required question. That is the end of page 2. We are now moving on to select next to go on to page 3, but you have the option to select back, next, or clear form. Page 3. Cannonball 2025 Festival application, email account, indicates required question. Moving into the first section. Performance location and dates. Please review our venue guide here, linked to our venue guide, before making a selection. Please note the storefront at Asian Arts Initiative is only available September 1st through 14th. The proscenium at the Drake is only available after September 14th. Runtime, required. How long do you anticipate your show will run? Most full-length shows in Cannonball are 45 to 60 minutes. Shows longer than 60 minutes will likely be placed in the proscenium at the Drake. If your runtime is over 60 minutes or under 30 minutes, a producer will be in touch to discuss the best options. Please enter a number of minutes. This answer needs to only include numbers. Request a performance space first choice. If your performance space is flexible, you may select your second and third choices below. If your work is site-specific, responsive, immersive, very intimate, or requires a very large or very small space, please select adaptive spaces, and we'll chat with you about how we might accommodate this need. You can review our venue guide here, linked to our venue guide. This is a required question with options of one choice. Your choices are Icebox Project Space, Asian Arts Initiative Theater, Asian Arts Initiative Storefront, the Louis Bluver Theater at the Drake, the proscenium at the Drake, adaptive spaces. Request a performance space, second choice. If your space preference is flexible, you may select your second and third choices below. If your work is site-specific, responsive, immersive, very intimate, or requires a very large or very small space, please select adaptive spaces. And we'll chat with you about how we might accommodate this need. You can review our venue guide here. Link to the venue guide. This is not a required section, but your choices are to pick one. Icebox Project Space, Asian Arts Initiative Theater, Asian Arts Initiative Storefront, the Louis Bluver Theater at the Drake, the proscenium at the Drake, adaptive spaces. Requested performance space, third choice. If your space preferred is flexible, you may select your second and third choices below. If your work is site-specific or responsive, immersive, very intimate, or requires a very large or very small space, please select adaptive spaces, and we'll chat with you about how we might accommodate this need. You can review our venue guide here, linked to our venue guide. This is not a required question. You have the options to choose one, and your options are Icebox Project Space, Asian Arts Initiative, Theater, Asian Arts Initiative, Storefront, the Louis Bluver Theater at the Drake, the Proscenium at the Drake, Adaptive Spaces. Preferred number of performances. Required. Most shows in Cannonball have 3 to 5 performances, but can have more or less than that. Take into consideration the scale of your show, requested performance space, and estimated audience size. What is your preferred number of performances? You will select one option. Your options are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus. September conflicts. By applying to Cannonball, we assume that you are available to perform on any date and time between September 1st and 28th. This gives us maximum flexibility to schedule as many artists as possible. Last year, our earliest weekday performances started at 5 p.m., and our earliest weekend performances started at 12 p.m. Most tech rehearsals are scheduled 9 to 1 p.m. or 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on weekdays. In our experience, local Philadelphia artists are more likely to sell more tickets if your performances are spread out over several days or weeks. For out-of-town artists, we will instead schedule you in a more concentrated block to maximize your time in Philly. After our application period ends on April 11th, we will review applicant availability and send out a proposed schedule to all accepted artists by the middle of May. Please list any hard conflicts for the month of September. If you have none at this time, please enter none. This is a required question. This is the end of page 3. You have the option to go back, next, or to clear the form. I am clicking next. Cannonball 2025 Festival application, your email address, and an indication of required questions noted. We are in the supplemental questions section. Artist statement, required. Please include a brief artist bio, a few sentences about your artist background, or some text about what you're on about artistically these days. We're not looking for formality here, so don't worry about having 18 friends proofread this. Just write anything that feels authentic to you at this moment. Last year's answers to this question averaged just over 140 words, but write as much as you'd like. Why Cannonball? Required question. Please briefly describe why the artist-to-artist presentation model at Cannonball interests you. What do you hope to give or get from a community of artists showing work together in September? Last year, answers to this question averaged at 75 words, but write as much or as little as you like. Access needs. Optional. Please list your access needs in order to fully participate in Cannonball. Note, access needs will not impact our review of the content of your application, but may be taken into consideration in regards to venue and scheduling. If needed, we will be in contact about the best way to accommodate your access needs within the festival. That is the end of page 4. You have the option to go back, next, or clear form. I'm pressing next. And I needed to fill out a required question. Now I will press next. Cannonball 2025 Festival application. Email indicates required question. Festival tracks section. Our 3 main festival tracks are buy-in, co-presentation, and work trade. We strongly encourage anyone who has the means to do so to choose buy-in. If you would like to apply to a special presentation track, we'll ask you about that after buy-in, co-presentation, and work trade sections. You can find out more about the financial agreements for each track here, linked out. Main tracks, buy-in. Buy-in artists pay a flat fee and receive 100% of their ticket sales after Fringe Arts ticketing fees. Most artists are part of the buy-in track. By buying in, you also support fellow festival artists for whom buying in is a barrier of entry. We strongly encourage anyone who has the means to do so to choose buy-in. Buy-in interest. Required. Would you like to 1. Only be considered for buy-in, i.e., you're not applying for any other tracks. 2. Be considered for buy-in if you're not selected for another track. 3. Not be considered for buy-in at all, i.e., if you're not selected for another track and you won't be able to do Cannonball. You can find out more about our tracks here, linked out. Please select your answer and then click Next. If I select buy-in only, that is option 1. I can select the second option, I will buy in if not selected for another track. Or my third option, I will not accept buy-in offer. This is the bottom of page 5. You have the option to go back, next, or clear form. I'm going next. Cannonball 2025 Festival application, email address, indication of required question. This is the main tracks, co-presentation. Co-presentation artists don't pay a buy-in fee and instead split their ticket income with Cannonball, typically a 50-50 split. The co-presentation track is designed for artists whom the financial burden of the buy-in track is a barrier to entry, or who have a demonstrated ability to draw a distinct audience to Cannonball Festival. You can find out more about the co-presentation track here, linked here. Co-presentation track interest. Would you like to apply to the co-presentation track? Please select your answer and then click Next. Your options are yes or no. Required question. Select one. I'm selecting yes. You have the option that we've completed page 6. You have the option to go back, next, or clear form. I'm clicking next. Cannonball 2025 Festival application. Rachel, my email, required field indication. This is the main track questions section. Main track questions, co-presentation track. To apply to the co-presentation track, please respond to the following questions. You can find out more about the co-presentation track here, linked here. Co-presentation track narrative. Please briefly describe how the co-presentation track could best support your project. What becomes possible for you as a result of participating in this program? Last year, answers to this question averaged under 100 words, but write as much or as little as you would like. This is the end of page 7. You may select back, next, or clear form. I'm selecting next. Cannonball 2025 Festival application, email, required field indicated. Main tracks, work trade. Cannonball has a limited number of voluntary work trade opportunities in our box office, front of house, and production departments. If selected for this opportunity, work trade artists voluntarily perform a designated number of festival work hours in exchange for their show slots and receive 100% of their ticket sales after fringe arts ticketing fees. You can find out more about the work trade track here, linked. Work trade interest. Would you like to apply to the work trade track? Please select your answer and then click Next. Required question. You have the option for yes or no. That is the end of page 8. I'm selecting yes. That is the end of page 8. Your options are back, next, or clear form. I'm selecting next. Cannonball 2025 Festival application, email, indicates required question. Main track questions, work trade. To apply to the work trade track, please respond to the following questions. You can find out more about the work trade track here, linked here. Work trade positions, required. Which work trade positions would you like to be considered for? If there is some other work you'd like to offer or a role you believe you could fill that is different from our 3 main positions, please write a short title and we'll contact you to discuss. You have 4 options. You may select as many as you choose. The options are box office manager, front of house manager, production assistant, and other. This is a required question. Work trade availability. Work trade hours are determined based on number of performances in venue, but are generally 10 to 20 hours per week during the month of September. Most shifts are 6 hours long, weeknights 4 to 10 p.m., and between 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. on the weekends. By checking this box, you certify that if selected, you are able to commit 10 to 20 hours per week of work during the month of September. There is only one option. It is yes, and it is required. Resume upload. Optional. There's a button to select that says Add File. When you click it, you have the option to insert a file using either your Google Drive or your computer. This is not a required question. Relevant work experience. If you uploaded a resume above, please enter Resume Upload. Otherwise, please describe your relevant work experience here. Required. This is the end of page 9. Your options are back, next, clear form. I'm selecting next. Cannonball 2025 Festival application. Email indicates required question. This is the special presentation tracks section. Would you like to apply to any of the special presentation tracks? You can find out more about the special presentation tracks here, linked out. If you select yes, you will be asked about each one individually. If you select no, you will be taken to the end of the application. The next pages are special presentation tracks. Any track applicant. Required question. Would you like to apply to any of the special presentation tracks? Your options are yes or no. Please select one. This is the bottom of page 10. You have the option to go back, next, or clear form. I'm selecting next. Special presentation tracks. BIPOC New Works. BIPOC New Works track interest. Would you like to apply to the BIPOC New Works track? You can find out more about the BIPOC's New Work track here, linked out. This is a required question. Select your answer and then click Next. Your options are yes or no. You have one option. This is the bottom of page 11. You may select back, next, or clear form. I am selecting Next. Special presentation track questions. BIPOC New Work presentation track. To apply to the BIPOC New Work presentation track, please respond to the following questions. You can find out more about the BIPOC New Work track here, linked out. BIPOC track narrative. Please briefly describe how the BIPOC New Work presentation track could best support your project. What is the vision for this piece? How is the work pushing forward in form, content, or political or social discourse? What is your anticipated trajectory for this project? Required. Work samples. Applying to the BIPOC New Work track requires you to submit at least one work sample at the end of this application. When you do, please ensure your work samples you submitted meet these requirements. May include video, production, stills, script samples, or anything else you feel may represent your work. Maybe of previous work or of your proposed project. Rehearsal and work in progress footage is fine too. Videos can be up to 5 minutes in length and should be uncut clips, i.e. no reels or performance montages. If your media is no longer than 5 minutes, indicate a start and end time that you would like us to watch. Please make sure to include passwords for any password-protected media. This is the bottom of page 12. You may select back, next, or clear form. Special presentation tracks Seesaw Award for New Work by Circus Artists of Color section. Seesaw interest. Would you like to apply to the Seesaw Award for New Work by Circus Artists of Color? You can find out more about the Seesaw Award here, linked. Required question. Select your answer, then click Next. Your options are yes or no. Please select one. This is the bottom of page 13. You may select back or next, or clear form. I am selecting next. Special presentation track questions. Seesaw Award. To apply to the Seesaw Award, please respond to the following questions. You can find out more about the Seesaw Award here, linked out. Seesaw Collaborators. How many performers and artistic collaborators will travel with your project? It's okay if you're not exactly sure yet, just give your best guess. Please list all collaborators that you know of so far and give us some information about them, bio, website, or whatever info you currently have. Required question. Seesaw Identity. How do you identify your race? How do any collaborating artists identify their race? List anyone you know you'll be working with, but it's okay if you haven't confirmed all of your collaborators yet. Asterisks. Please note if you are applying on behalf of an ensemble or group, only the leaders of the project need to identify as BIPOC, BIPOC, Black, Indigenous People of Color. Leaders may identify as founders, directors, choreographers, or lead artists. Leaders should not identify as non-persons of color. However, it is permissible for non-persons of color to be part of the makeup of your ensemble or group. Required question. Seesaw project process. Please briefly describe where you are in the process of creating this work. This includes any past or ongoing collaborations with members of the ensemble or other artists working on this project. Required question. Seesaw project funds. How will you spend the $55,600 grant reward? We're not asking for a formal budget here, although if you have one already, that's great. You can simply list the categories of things you're anticipating that the award funds might support, whether they are production expenses, artist fees, rent, etc. Required question. Seesaw impact. What becomes possible for you as a result of participating in this program? What is your anticipated trajectory for this project? Required. By checking this box, Seesaw can travel. By checking this box, you certify that if selected, you are able to travel to Philadelphia to present this work. Required question. You have one option. Your option is yes. Seesaw work sample requirements. Applying to the Seesaw track requires you to submit 2 videos of your work. These videos should not be taken directly from social media, but instead uploaded to the application here. You can either upload the videos directly or upload a PDF with links to videos. These videos do not need to be extremely high quality. They should last a minimum of 1 minute and ideally include more than one clip, view, or perspective. The videos should also reflect your proposed show description and include elements of circus. Rehearsal footage is totally acceptable, but unfortunately, if you are unable to submit any video samples of your work, and specifically your work relating to this show's example, we may be unable to consider your application. If you do not have video yet that relates exactly to the show idea, please provide us with videos of your previous work samples that feel relevant to you. At the end of this application, you will be asked to upload work samples. When you do, please ensure your work samples you submitted meet these requirements. I'm submitting at least 2 videos of my work. Each video length is at least 1 minute. My videos include elements of circus. My videos reflect my show description or previous relevant work. This is the end of page 14. You may select back, next, or clear form. I'm selecting next. Special presentation track performance for young audiences cohort. PYAC interest. Would you like to apply to the performance for young audiences cohort? You can find more about the performance for young audiences cohort here. Select your answer and click next. Your options are yes or no. Please select one. This is a required question. We are at the bottom of page 15. Your option is to select back, next, or clear form. Special presentation track questions. Performance for young audiences cohort. To apply to the performance for young audiences cohort, please respond to the following questions. You can find out more about the performance for young audience cohort here, linked here. PYAC narrative. Required question. Please briefly describe how the performances for young audience cohort would benefit your project. What becomes possible for you as a result of participating in this program that wouldn't otherwise be possible? PIAC age range. What is the intended age range for your performance? Required question. PIAC audience participation. Is there any audience participation? Is it interactive? How or why? Required question. PIAC can travel. By checking this box, I certify that if selected, we are able to travel to Philadelphia to participate in summer workshops and present our project in September. This is a required question. You have one option. It is yes. This is the bottom of page 16. You may click back, next, or clear form. Special presentation track, award for SWANA artists. SWANA interest. Would you like to apply for the award for SWANA artists? You can find out more about the award here. Select your answer, then click next. Your options are yes or no. This is a required question. This is the bottom of page 17. You may select back, next, or clear form. Special presentation track questions. Award for SWANA artists. To apply to the award for SWANA artists, please respond to the following questions. You can find out more about the award here, linked here. SWANA experience. How does your experience as a SWANA person influence your work as an artist? Required question. SWANA residence. Do you live and work in the greater Philadelphia area? Required question. Your options are yes or no. Please select one. SWANA non-Philadelphia resident. If you answered no above, please know this award is focused on artists in the greater Philadelphia area. However, out-of-town and international artists will also be considered. Where do you reside? This is an optional question. SWANA can travel. By checking this box, I certify that if selected, we are able to travel to Philadelphia to present this work. Required question. One option, yes. This is the bottom of page 18. You may select back, next, or clear form. Special presentation track, Philadelphia Theater Company Text and Dramaturgy Cohort. PTC Text and Dramaturgy interest. Would you like to apply for the PTC Text and Dramaturgy Cohort? You can find out more about the track here, linked here. This is a required question. Select your answer, then click next. You have two options, yes or no. This is the bottom of page 19. You have the option to select back, next, or clear form. Special presentation track questions. Philadelphia Theater Company Text and Dramaturgy Cohort. PTC Text and Dramaturgy Cohort narrative. Required question. Please briefly describe how the cohort could help you advance your project. What area of your script, dance, act, etc. are you looking for feedback and mentorship on? PTC Text and Dramaturgy Cohort availability. By checking this box, you certify that if selected, you are able to attend one monthly meeting in person in Philadelphia at the end of June, July, and August to meet with the cohort and share your work in progress. This is a required question. You have one option. The option is yes. PTC Text and Dramaturgy Cohort work sample requirements. Applying to the PTC Text and Dramaturgy Cohort requires you to submit at least one work sample that is representative of the text or dramaturgy that you're interested in exploring and receiving feedback on within the cohort. This could be a completed script, scenes in progress, audio recordings of songs, video documentation of your performances, whatever you feel best demonstrates what text you want to focus on. If you do not yet have work samples that relate exactly to your project proposal, please provide previous work samples that feel relevant to you. This is the end of page 20. You have the option to go back, next, or clear form. That now concludes the special presentation tracks section. We are now in the work samples section. Work samples. This year, work samples are required for all Cannonball artists, including buy-in track applicants. Please upload or provide links for up to 3 work samples below. You may upload files directly, submit a PDF containing links to media and work sample upload, or paste your links in work sample links. Work samples can include video, production stills, script samples, or anything else you feel represents your work. Samples can be of previous work or of your proposed project. Rehearsal and work in progress footage is fine too. Videos can be up to 5 minutes in length and should be uncut clips, i.e., no trailers or performance montages. If your media is longer than 5 minutes, please indicate a start time and end time that you would like us to watch. Please make sure to include passwords for any password-protected media. If you are applying to the Seesaw Award for Circus Artists of Color, your work samples must also meet these following requirements. I'm submitting at least 2 videos of my work. Each video length is 1 minute. My videos include elements of circus. My videos reflect my show description or previous relevant work. If you are applying for the PTC dramaturgy cohort, your work samples must be representative of the text or dramaturgy that you're interested in exploring and receiving feedback on within the cohort. Your work samples will not be shared with anyone outside of the Cannonball selection panels and will not be used for any purpose other than Cannonball application needs. Work sample upload. Upload up to 5 supported files, max 10 MB per file. Here, you have the option to select Add File, which is a button. When you press and click the button, you are given a space to upload your files. You may browse your computer or upload from your Google Drive. Not required question. Work sample links. If you submitted your work samples by uploading a file above, then please simply write, "I uploaded files." Otherwise, please include your work sample links and any relevant text, i.e. start time, end time, link password, etc. in this answer. Required question. Website link, optional. Enter a link to your website below. Social media links, optional. Enter your handles or links to a social media account below. Additional collaborator bios. If you know who your collaborators are, please give a short bio for each collaborator here. This is the bottom of page 21. You may select back, next, or clear form. Previous support. Previous Cannonball support. Required question. Have you received support from Cannonball in the past? This includes the special presentation tracks and co-presentation. If the answer is yes, please list the year, project, and support received in the question below. If you have participated in Cannonball as a buy-in artist in the past, enter no. You have 2 options, yes or no. Please select one. Previous Cannonball support description. If you entered yes above, please list the year, project, and support received below. This is the bottom of page 22. You may select back, next, or clear form. Anonymous demographic survey. We respect human diversity and understand that demographic questions are sensitive and personal matters. To improve the effectiveness of our organization and ensure we address the needs of the Cannonball community, we ask you to complete an anonymous demographic survey. The survey is hosted on an Airtable form, separate from your application form here. The survey is entirely anonymous and cannot be connected in any way to your application. Your responses will not be used in evaluating the eligibility or quality of your application. Please click here to complete the anonymous demographic survey. Here linked. I'm clicking the link and it is opening a new tab on my web browser to the anonymous demographic survey. Anonymous demographic survey. Thank you for applying to Cannonball 2025. We respect human diversity and understand that demographic questions are sensitive and personal matters. To improve the effectiveness of our organization and ensure we address the needs of the Cannonball community, please answer the following demographic questions. This survey is entirely anonymous and cannot be connected in any way to your application. Your responses will not be used in evaluating the eligibility or quality of your application. Age. What is your age? Drop-down selection. You have one option. Your options are 18 to 24, 25 to 34, 35 to 44, 45 to 54, 55 plus. Prefer not to answer. Ethnicity. Please select the ethnic groups that best describe your background. Your options, and you may pick as many as you like, are American Indian or Alaskan Native, Asian, Black or African American, Hispanic, Latino, AX or Spanish origin, Middle Eastern or North African, Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, white, prefer not to answer, prefer to describe, please specify. Ethnicity write-in. If you selected prefer to describe, please do so here. Gender identity. How do you identify your gender identity? This is a free text field. If you prefer not to answer, please leave this question blank. Sexual orientation. How do you identify your sexual orientation? This is a free text field. If you prefer not to answer, please leave this question blank. Disability status. Do you identify as a person with a disability or other chronic condition? You have a drop-down of many options. Your options are yes, no, or prefer not to answer. You will select one. Veteran status. Have you ever served in the United States Armed Forces? Dependents. How many dependents do you currently have living with you in your household? A dependent is a child or relative who relies on you for financial support. Household income. What is your total household income? Level of education. Please select the level of education you have completed. I'm now going to go back to these questions to describe the drop-down options. For veteran status, your options are yes, no, prefer not to answer. Please select one. For dependents, your options are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 or more, prefer not to answer. Please select one. Household income, your options are 0 to 19,999, 20,000 to 49,999, 50,000 to 89,999, 90,000 to 129,999, 130,000 to 149,000, 150,000 plus. Prefer not to answer. You will select one. Level of education. Please select the highest level of education you have completed. Your options are high school diploma or equivalent, some college no degree, associate degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctorate degree. Prefer not to answer. This is the end of the form. You have the option to clear the form or submit it. I'm Xing out of the form and going back to the tab of the Cannonball Festival application. This is the last question on this page. Anonymous survey confirmation. By checking this box, you affirm that you have completed the anonymous demographic survey. This is a required question. You have one option. It is yes. This is the bottom of page 23. You have the option to go back, next, or clear form. This is the last page of the application. Final section. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the application. Artist comments, optional. Do you have any questions or comments for us? This could be additional information about your project you want to share, comments about this application process, or anything else you would like to share with us. Submit. Take a moment to review your answers, and when you are ready, click Submit. You may select Back, Submit, or Clear Form. This concludes the walkthrough of the Cannonball Festival application. But first, before we conclude, let's look at the submission page. Cannonball 2025 Festival application submission page. Thank you for applying to participate in the Cannonball 2025. We look forward to reviewing your application. If you have any questions, please email producers@cannonballfestival.org. You also have linked here the opportunity to click Submit Another Response. That is the end of the walkthrough for the Cannonball 2025 Festival application.